I want to show you guys a tree that has just been baffling us. We can't figure out what it is, but it produces a dark, almost black fruit that kind of looks like a cherry. So if you get up close, you can see the berries here. They kind of look like cherries. But the leaves aren't right for the wild black cherry from Missouri, and the fruits don't grow on a long stem with berries all down it, kind of cascading down it. These berries grow on a cluster of about 3, and the leaves are much more round than a black cherry tree. We don't know what these are at all. Inside of these is a little seed, kind of maybe a little pit, but a little seed. But when they're completely ripe like this, they're almost black and they come off the stem really easily. These are very ripe and they just fell right off the tree. They're soft and kind of squishy. Let's open one up. They're really juicy and have this pit inside. We don't know what these are, but we want to know because if they're edible, I'd like to make some jelly or some jam. If nothing else, I could use to dye. Look at very dark juice. If you have any guesses as to what this tree is, please let us know so we can do some research to see what kind of a tree this is.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead. Well, today we are heading out into the woods because we noticed that the black raspberries are starting to ripen on our property.
Now, it's just the beginning of berry season and just the beginning of when those black raspberries are starting to ripen, so we know there aren't a ton of them, but I sure would like 1 cup of them so I could make some muffins for the family.
Right. And then while we're back here, there's a kind of a surprise that we want to show you guys, something that we've never found before, even here on our own property.
Today was the first day we ever saw these.
Right. We came back early this morning and looked around a little bit, and we were blown away to find these. So we can't wait to show you what they are.
On our property back in the woods, we have lots and lots of berries. We have the black raspberries, they're called black cap raspberries, blackberries, and dewberries. That's all we knew that we had until this year. But I wanted to show you, just in this area, the difference between a raspberry plant and a blackberry plant. Now, we don't have a lot of raspberries coming on this year, but we have tons and tons of blackberries, which is fantastic because I love to collect them. But right here in this area we have both raspberry and blackberry, and this is a raspberry cane. It's actually a first-year raspberry cane, and you can see that the stem here is round. Okay, there aren't ridges on it. It's very smooth, and when you rub on it, there's a white coating that comes off, and then you can see, you know, it's a true green underneath. But with that white coating on it, it makes it kind of look a little bluish. Now, raspberries and blackberries have 2 years worth of branches or canes that they grow on. The first year canes don't grow berries. It's the second year's canes that grow the berries. In this area, there's a lot of first year raspberry canes, but I'm not seeing any second year raspberry canes, at least none that have any fruit on them. This here is a second year raspberry cane. Obviously it has lots of fruit. the color of the stems have gotten darker and kind of more woody, but you can still tell that they're raspberry because the stems are smooth. That does have thorns, but not as many thorns as a blackberry cane. Now in this same area, and this happens all over the place on our property, there are also blackberry plants. This here is a first year blackberry cane, and you can see the leaf clusters. They have 5. And the stems are, have ridges. So they actually have almost like different, almost ropes kind of running down the stem. You can see it's, I would say bumpy, but more it just has ridges like that. And in general, they also have more thorns. So this is a first year cane. It won't have any flowers on it and it won't produce any fruit. Along with the blackberries and the black raspberries, we have dewberries here on the homestead. And there happens to be one just right here that the berry is just starting to ripen. Dewberries grow closer to the ground and the plants themselves don't get very big at all. And they produce these little berries that have bigger segments, if you will, than a blackberry. They're not very prolific. We have just a few here and there. They'll get almost black like a blackberry. If I were to eat this, man, this would be sour right now. But that is a dewberry.
Behind me is a big patch of blackberries and raspberries that we've picked a lot from in the past. It looks like they're just starting to ripen, so I don't expect that we're going to get a real lot, but we're definitely going to look through and pick out as many of the black raspberries as we can that are ripe. It looks like this year there's a lot more blackberries than black raspberries, but we still want to get all that we can, so we're going to pick through and see what we can get. Well, we didn't get too many out of that patch, but we got a few. It's off to a good start.
A big concern about foraging in the woods in the summer for us here in southwest Missouri, in the Missouri Ozarks, is just the huge number of ticks and chiggers. And coming back into thick, dense woods in the middle of the summer is just asking for trouble. I tend to attract just all the ticks in the entire forest, and Kevin gets all of the chiggers. And it seems like this is the time of year where we just get hit really hard and Kevin gets really terrible chiggers, and it's probably from foraging for these berries.
Right. It seems like every year during blackberry season is when I get chiggers really bad. And actually just this past weekend at the farmer's market, somebody told us that blackberry plants, or the wild berry plants, are one of the places that chiggers like to hide the most. So that definitely makes sense in my experience.
We have tried a couple of products over the last few years to try to repel the ticks and the chiggers. This year we've tried a couple others, and today we're also trying something new for us.
Right. We've tried, the organic, natural type repellents, and they seem to work pretty well when we're just in normal grassy situations, or when we're sitting outside to have a meal, that type of thing. They'll keep mosquitoes away. They might help a little bit with the ticks, but none of them have seemed to work when we're back in these densely wooded areas.
We've had a few suggestions from viewers and also from my dad, actually, to use a product called permethrin or permethrin. It's a product that you spray on your clothes, like a couple of outfits, not while they're on you, and the spray will repel and kill ticks, chiggers, and mosquitoes for up to 6 weeks or as long as 6 washes. So Kevin actually went ahead and sprayed one complete outfit of mine, so what I'm wearing today, and one outfit of his, which is what he's wearing today, and we're giving that a try.
Right. Now typically we don't like to put chemicals on ourselves if we can avoid it, But this is one of those situations where last year we had 2 neighbors end up with tick fever. So we have to take it a little bit more serious now about getting these bugs on us. So these outfits that we're wearing today, we're setting aside exclusively for when we come back into the woods foraging. We're not going to wear them when we're in the garden or just out doing other work. So it'll be a limited exposure. But if it can keep us from getting, first of all, if it can keep me from getting chiggers this year, I think it's worth it. And if it can keep those ticks off of us to, you know, hopefully make us not get sick from the ticks, that would be great as well.
So if you want to learn more about that product, we're going to put a link to that in our Amazon shop. You can read up about it if you're interested.
So we're going to head down the trail to another patch of black raspberries that we know about, and we're going to see if they're starting to ripen.
Most of these are blackberries.
All right, so it's time to show you guys the newest discovery that we have on our property. This morning we were out just checking on the blackberries and raspberries to see how they were doing. We were kind of hiking through some of this rocky area, and all of a sudden I looked down and I saw these little berries that I've never really seen before. I've seen the plants before. Sarah and I, you know, do a lot of hiking out here, and we've noticed these plants growing before, but they never had berries on them. So I called Sarah over because she's a lot smarter at this stuff than I am as far as knowing what things are. And I said, take a look at these purple berries. And they looked like this. And what these are wild blueberries. And once we started looking for them, we're discovering them everywhere. Now, a lot of them aren't ripe yet, but there's quite a few that are ripe already. I don't know if in the past we've just missed them, like we missed the time of year that they were ripe. And my guess is that the deer will eat a lot of these before we'll ever get them. But there are quite a few ripe right now that we're going to pick. Now, they're probably about a quarter of the size of a blueberry that you would buy in the store. But we've eaten a few of them already, and oh my gosh, the taste is amazing. It's definitely a blueberry. There's no doubt about it once you taste them. They taste exactly like a good quality blueberry. So while we're back here today, we're going to pick as many of these as we can to put in with our black raspberries. And then hopefully we'll have enough that Sarah can make some kind of great dessert for us after dinner tonight. But just on this plant that I'm sitting in front of right here, I see probably 10 or 15 of them that are ripe enough to pick. So, and they're all over this wooded area. Now they stay real low to the ground, but I think we'll get quite a few. We're gonna just mix them in with our black raspberries and see how many we can get. Well, we didn't end up with a real lot of berries, but we kind of expected that since they're just starting. I think in another week, it's going to be prime season for picking these black raspberries.
But I think for today anyway, I have enough to make one batch of muffins, just 12 muffins, but it will be a good first taste of summer.
So we're going to head back toward the house. We actually want to show you guys an update on the sunflower experiment that we're doing. I think you're going to be surprised. Well, we're back up by the house, and I wanted to give you guys an update on how our sunflower experiment is going. You can see that they're coming up pretty nicely. Now, for those of you who have been following us for a while, you've seen us start these from seed. But for those of you who are brand new, let me tell you what we're doing here. We actually planted this entire front section of our yard, which is about, well, this is 6 feet wide by about 300 feet. We planted with black oil sunflowers. Now the reason that we're doing this is that we're hoping to be able to harvest and get some of our own sunflower oil. We try to buy as little as we can from the store, and sunflower oil is one of those things that we tend to buy on a pretty regular basis. Now I have no idea how much sunflower oil this has the possibility of producing, but if it even helps a little bit, that would be great. We do render the lard from the pigs that we raise as well, and we use that. But we really like sunflower oil because most of the liquid oils that you buy in the store are GMO products. We're trying to stay away from GMOs as much as possible. So if this can help in that process, we sure would love it.
On each end of this big long strip of sunflowers, for some reason, the seeds didn't germinate very well. So I actually reseeded with Cosmos. A couple weekends ago, we went to one of the Baker Creek Heritage Festivals. The first Sunday of each month from March through October, they have like a mini festival. So we went the first Sunday in June, and they had their auction. We didn't know it was their auction weekend. We probably shouldn't have gone because we ended up buying a lot of seeds, and most of them were flower seeds. So I had a bunch of different types of Cosmos that we bought. So I took kind of a little bit of each one, mixed them all up, and then I just scattered them on both ends. I just threw them down on the ground. Maybe they'll germinate, maybe they won't, but if they do, it'll be so pretty to have Cosmos on each end of this long strip of sunflowers.
Well, the results are in about how the permethrin spray worked. We spent probably 5 hours back in the woods today doing various things, picking the berries, cleaning some things up, and just kind of checking things out. And I'll tell you, I am quite happy with the way it worked.
Yes, I ended up having a few ticks, and you ended up having absolutely no ticks. Zero ticks. So a huge improvement. Now, Kevin had his socks sprayed and his shoes sprayed, and I didn't have either of those, so I think that is the big difference.
I do too, because typically the ticks will crawl up from the ground, and they'll crawl up your pant leg. So I think having my boots and my socks sprayed really made the difference.
Yeah, so we'll make those changes for me going forward. But I do think that it's doing a good job. Now we're back home. I baked those muffins and they taste fantastic.
Oh my gosh, are they good.
The combination of the wild black raspberries and the wild blueberries, man, they were fantastic. I've already had 2. They'll be gone by the end of the day, I think.
They are absolutely amazing. So you guys, thanks for spending the day with us today. We sure do appreciate it. We enjoy all of you coming to our homestead and spending some time with us. If you know someone who would enjoy this, don't forget to share it. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless. It's raining.